Lauren, welcome to the podcast.
Oh, hello. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. I'm really excited to have you on today. Thank you for agreeing to come on. I have been following you on social media for a while, and I just really like your whole approach to business and your approach to the industry and just you straight talking as well. I love that. So I'm very excited to have you on today's episode. So for the listeners, let's share a bit of your background. So you started your journey in the industry in 2013.
Yes.
So how did that come about? Tell me about what made you join the industry.
So I actually began in this industry in 1993.
Okay.
13 years old. I don't think people work at that age now.
No, I don't think they're meant to.
And
Was it a choice? Was it a choice?
Yeah, it was. I got a Saturday job in a hairdresser's round the corner from me. And first job, 13, the salon owner, Peter Sachel, was absolute darling, lovely, kind man. And he nurtured me and sort of taught me how to make small talk, and just being in that environment and watching him and the other stylists care for people and look after people. And he was very patient. He used to... I'd be stood at the backwash washing someone's hair just like that, cacking myself. And he used to write on appointment cards like little cues as conversation starters. And when I look back on that now as an adult and somebody that would not deal with a 13-year-old in the workplace, I think, bloody hell, that was lovely of him. And it really got me started. However, I have done 1,000,001 ridiculous different jobs.
You've got to share them. You've got to share some of them.
Weirdest job would be dressing up as the Tetley Tea Man, touring around the country.
Stop.
Touring around Tesco's all around the country dressed as the Tetley Tea Man. Got battered in Leeds, you know.
You did not?
God, yeah. Yeah, kids attack you. They just come and like boot you and stuff.
Respect the Tetley Tea Man.
Yeah, I've worked in catering for a long time. I've trained as a sommelier, like a wine advisor. Spent some time as a professional singer.
No way.
I've sold educational resources in schools. I had another business, which was, do you remember the chocolate fountain phase? I had a chocolate fountain
So you'd
catering
hire out
business.
your fountains.
Go and, be attacked by people.
Yeah, I bought one of those and did a kids' party and just thrown it away. After.
Did you?
I just threw it away. It
Best
was,
thing.
it was just too much. I just looked at it and thought, that's dry. It's been left there for 2 days. That's bigger than what I can deal with right now.
Yeah.
So just threw it away.
So 2013, I split with my ex-husband in 2012. Became a single mum, albeit with lots of support, and he's always been a great ex. And I think I was just having a moment of madness and decided to take a lease out on a salon and go for it. So I'd previously, that's the other thing, I think, with somebody like me, that I sort of like newness and excitement, and I've done lots of courses, half-done courses, and beauty was one of the courses that I'd done in amongst many. And I had then done like nails and waxing for people at home, and then decided in 2013 that I'm going to do this properly.
Okay.
Went on some like more specialised courses.
Yeah.
And just dived straight in.
Okay. And then in 2013, you created the Waxologist.
Yeah.
Tell me what the Waxologist is, what it does, who it serves.
So it is now a hair removal specialist salon. It was just waxing. In the last couple of years, we've moved into lasers.
Good idea.
Yep. And for me, it's all about creating a really welcoming, comfortable space for women and men to come into and just feel welcomed, not judged, relaxed, and do a bloody good wax.
Okay. Do you offer other treatments or do you just focus on waxing?
We seem to like removing things, so tattoo removal.
Okay.
Yeah, love.
Yeah.
Love doing that, and laser hair removal, love that too.
Right, okay. So how did your journey begin? 2013, you've seen a lease and you think, I'm going to go for it. Was this just you at this point? How did it evolve?
Yeah, absolute madness. The first thing that I did was look at areas. There was already a specialist salon very close to where I was living that I'd worked in. So I knew that I wanted to break into another area. And Cheadle, where I'm based, really reminded me of Prestwich, I think. It was easy for me to get to in terms of I was right near a motorway. That's right off a junction. I knew that then would be easy for people to travel to. So first I chose the area, and then I began by renting a room. A lot of people do.
Yep.
And after about 2-3 months, I just saw this absolute tiny shop. It had previously been a taxi rank.
Okay.
I mean, it was small. And I just went for it, jumped on it. And I did it up like a beach shack.
Yeah.
Just trying to make the best of it, really. But it was always scrupulously clean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what kind of challenges and setbacks did you face in those early days?
Oh, my God. The first 2 years were horrific.
Was it?
I can't say it was anything other than utterly miserable.
Oh,
I've got to be honest.
You've got to be honest. 100%. You've got to be honest. So why was that? Because you kind of have openly said, like, I jumped into it. And do you think that's why it was difficult? Or what kind of challenges and setbacks was you experiencing?
Yeah. I think had I looked at everything previously and done a business plan, I think I'd have been frightened to do it.
Yeah.
It's not my style. Although when I jumped into it and I signed a lease for 3 years, thank God I was stuck because I would have got rid of it. I wouldn't be here now had I not been stuck for that 2 years. I was so green. I didn't know anything. I didn't understand how the industry sort of worked. I think I hadn't thought very far along. All I cared about in the beginning was getting open, and it's step by step, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's slow, isn't it?
It's incredibly slow. And I look back and I think, could it have been any different? I don't know. I made lots of mistakes, lots of money spent on awful websites and adverts that didn't work. It was a weird time, 2013, because we weren't where we are with social media now.
Yeah.
But people weren't looking in the papers the same, and it was like in between stage. So yeah, first 2 years, miserable, absolutely broke ass, no money.
And
really.
you were just on your own at this point,
on my
doing
own,
waxing,
very lonely.
Yeah,
a lot of my days were spent on the treatment bed watching. I'd watch feature films. I had a lot of spare time. I'd drive to Cheadle for an £8 eyebrow wax.
Yeah.
And that was my full day. And it's very hard I didn't hold my nerve. There's no point in me saying I held my nerve. I didn't. Yeah. I was stuck with a lease. Yeah. And that was the only reason that I kept showing up and going back. Had I not been in that lease, had I continued with the room rental, I'd have been off.
You'd have been gone, yeah, because you said openly, didn't you? I tried so many different things, and you kind of tried different things and you'd stop and then you'd start. So onto the lease, did you sign the lease in your personal name?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a big mistake, isn't it?
Yeah, I hadn't set up a limited company at that
exactly.
point.
But I'm really open, especially when it comes to my members and stuff, and I say if you're going to have a lease, make a limited company, because it's different, isn't it? If you have a lease in a limited company, not that in your situation, obviously, like you said, if you had done that, you'd have been out. So it's a blessing that you didn't do that. It really is a blessing you didn't do that. Otherwise, you wouldn't be where you are now, which we'll get into. But legally, if you have a lease in a limited company name, it is easier to get out of it.
Yeah.
If you have it in your personal name, you then put your own, if you've got a home on the line, you have to potentially go bankrupt to be able to get out of the lease. It's almost impossible, isn't it? So for anybody listening to this that's considering a lease, please look at doing it through a corporated company, because it will definitely save you. But in your situation, actually, it was a blessing because you had no choice. So after the first 2 years, what changed to make things become a bit better?
I got busy.
Okay.
I got busy, and I can see in retrospect that could have been done quicker.
Okay.
Had I known
a
little bit more about and had a plan. But it happened very naturally, mostly by word of mouth. And by 2015, I was making enough money to live off.
Okay, so you thought, you know what?
And I was enjoying
Actually,
it.
I enjoy this
Yeah.
because I think the thing is, if you've got all these commitments and you're not making money, it's not enjoyable, is it? Because it's just pressure.
Yeah.
Whereas when you start to make money, the commitments don't seem so bad. 'Cause it's like, well,
Yeah.
actually, this is funding my
You can meet them.
mortgage payment,
Yeah.
and I'm able to save a bit of money to go on holiday here, so it becomes a lot more enjoyable.
Yeah.
So, would you say that the clients at that point just came organically? Did you have a switch in you that just went, I can't keep showing up like this, I'm going to have to change something?
No.
Or it was just a matter of
It was a very slow burn.
slow burn?
Yeah. And I also will say that all the money setting up Richard Branson credit card.
Yeah.
Me and Richard, off we went. So I started with 10 grand's worth of personal debt. And
Yeah.
that as well, it was kind of
Pressure.
crushing me.
Yeah, it does.
So once there was enough money coming in to meet the demands and eat and clothe my children, everything became a bit easier and
lighter.
I began to be able to enjoy it and see a way forward.
And how many children did you have, and how old
2.
were they at this point?
2, and at that point, my daughter would have been 13 and my son 8, 9.
Yeah, so it's hard, isn't it? Your daughter's just starting to give you attitude and you want to rip her head off.
Yeah.
And your
Yeah.
son's just jumping off of beds and
Yeah,
sofas and
exactly.
hurting himself. And then you've got this business and you've got this debt, and it's hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
Looking back, what misconceptions do you think that you had about the beauty industry? Just quickly, I think people think it's an easy ride. Do you think you might have thought, oh, little beauty business, I can get this? What kind of misconceptions did you have?
So misconceptions, I don't even know if I had misconceptions, as in I didn't think it through.
You just didn't
at all.
think.
And that's me all over. I was excited by it. I wanted to do it and I just went for it. But misconception wise, I just didn't know the enormity of what goes on behind the scenes. What you see at the forefront of a business, what you experience as a client is minuscule compared to what goes on behind the scenes. And it's got more and more complicated as the years have progressed. You know, GDPR, social media. Once you master one social media platform,
Changes.
a new one comes. I'm not going on Threads. I'm just not having it.
Yeah, I'm not having that
Enough.
one. No,
I've not managed to get on TikTok, and it's like I keep writing in my little ideas notes section like, TikTok, we need to do TikTok, and I just keep going because there's only so much that I can cope with. And yeah, I didn't realise how big it was.
You've got a great presence on Instagram though, haven't you? And we'll get to that. As in, I've seen your authentic posts, and we will get to that. But yeah, I think people underestimate what it takes to build and grow and maintain a successful beauty business. It's not an easy ride, and I speak quite openly about, you know, people at school are told, go into the beauty industry because that's probably where you'll do best, in a condescending way, or people think that, you know, like beauty business owners are thick, and I think the industry's changing now. I think people are starting to see it differently, especially considering that beauty business owners can earn a lot more money than the teachers at school that told us that we shouldn't go into the industry or whatever. But yeah, so going back, what was one of the defining moments that you remember where you was like, I'm on the right track now, this feels good? Like, do you remember a specific thing that happened?
It was that summer of 2015, and it was like, it didn't happen overnight, obviously, but it was a feeling of all of a sudden it coincided with summer and I became busy. But the clients were coming in saying, I've heard about you from such a body at my yoga class has been, and they said you're amazing. I felt like I was all over Facebook, just being mentioned.
Someone says, where do I get a wax? It was you getting tagged.
Yeah, it was always my name. And it was like, bloody hell. This is amazing.
Yeah.
And every client was like so exciting when they came through the doors. It's like, oh my God, it's another one. I'm fully booked again. And it was just snowballing.
Yeah. Why do you think clients like to come to you?
I think because we love it. All of us in the salon really enjoy what we do. And I think that shows if you love what you're doing.
And how many of you in the salon now?
I think there's 7.
Right, well, and we'll get to that. We'll get to how you built it, because, you know, in 2013, you're on your own. 2015, you're still on your own.
Yeah.
So how did you build from being on your own to now you've got all these people that work for you. It's
Yeah.
like, how did that come about?
Kind of accidentally. So it was never a picture that I had in my head. I was always just trying to get through the day, get through that day, get through that month. The first time that I had somebody else involved in the business was in 2015, and I had an operation, and a girl, we used to go and wax each other at each other's houses. I said, I'm going to have 6 weeks off after this op. She was mostly doing teaching at that point, and she was pretty quiet, and she said, I'll cover you.
Yeah, perfect.
And she did for 6 weeks, and it just opened my eyes to, maybe someone else could come in and do the days that I'm not working. And that was how that began. She left after the cover and went on with what she was doing, and now she's got a salon as well. She still does loads of teaching. You should have her on. She's really good.
Tell her to hit me up.
Yeah. And then the next person was a client.
Right.
Next person was a client, Ellen. She was absolutely lovely, beauty therapist. And she'd been coming to me for ages for waxing. She was trundling about in a car, lugging loads of equipment. And I kept saying, why don't you come and do a bit here? Why don't you come and do a bit here? And she did. And it just sort of snowballed very slowly. So on average, we sort of only take one person a year on.
Did you have to move premises?
Move 3 times.
Yeah, but you've got to go into expansion.
Yeah.
That's not an easy journey, is it?
No, it's very stressful moving, and this is the forever home now, and it took a lot to get to it. Mm-hmm. And it's like the perfect
it's
home
the
for
one.
us.
Yeah, you've found the one. Did you ever have any bad experiences with staff members on the way? And if you did, like, what kind of things come up? You don't have to mention any names or anything like that, but I think as a business owner, managing staff, I think, is one of the most challenging things when it comes to building a team. So tell me about your experiences there.
Yeah, I have had difficult experiences. I have had to let people go, and they've not worked out the situations. I think it's part of it. At the time, there was a lot of beating myself up. But it's a learning curve. How can I know unless I don't learn? And I'm not somebody that learns from a book. I have to feel the pain. I have to go through it. And I mean, there's people that won't meet the standard, and it's painful. And you give people as many opportunities as you can. But if complaints are coming in and you retrain, and more complaints are coming in and you retrain, at some point you have to let go.
Okay.
And that's hard, and it's really unpleasant. But
did you feel uncomfortable letting people go, or did you find that
nervous
easy?
Break.
Yeah, it's
literally
horrible, isn't it?
Take me to the brink. And I actually don't manage my own salon anymore.
Okay.
Because of these things.
You don't want to do that. Yeah.
I know that I am not suited to that role.
Yep.
It's just not me. And other people aren't affected in the way that I am by HR work.
Yeah.
It's not my bag.
It's not, I get that.
Someone else can do that.
Well, this is the thing. When you become a business owner, you get to choose which tasks you want to do and which tasks you don't want to do. I think we've all got to go, as business owners, we've all got to go through that phase of hiring and firing. At some point, if having a team is what we want to do, the hiring's quite fun. The firing's really not so fun. But yeah, I suppose it's just lessons, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've obviously got people with you, though, that have been with you for a long time, and you've built a great team now, and your team look very connected, and it looks like you have fun. How do you go about finding the right people? What's your process for hiring people?
So we'll advertise, of course, and then over time, me and Jill, who's the manager, have learnt how to make that process easier. So we have, on Indeed, she set it up so that there's certain questions that have to be answered. Okay. And if somebody can't be bothered answering the questions, then they're not bothered.
Yeah.
You know, if they've not got that in them, then that's not the right person. Then she'll do a telephone interview, see how that goes, and then I'll do an interview and a trade test.
Love it.
So I've just done one last week, and I think Jill will have rang this lady up yesterday and offered her a job.
Offered her the job,
Ooh,
yeah.
exciting.
I think it's important when you're hiring for somebody to fill a position in your salon, the worst thing you can do is have a quick chat with them, have a 5-minute meeting and offer them the job. Because like you've not learnt much about that person, you've not done a trade test, you've not found out their strengths, their weaknesses. I think a 3-step interview process is a great idea, and I suggest my members do the same thing. When it comes to interviewing, what kind of questions would you be asking? What do you want to know? Do you want to know how they are as a person, or is it their skill that you're more interested in?
It's how they are as a person. We don't take newbies, we don't take untrained people without a qualification, but I have learned that my gut has to say yes to that person. All my major life and business mistakes, my gut has been screaming at me. It's not been. It's a weird thing, your gut, isn't it? Because it's not going to tell you why.
Yes.
There's no logic to it.
Yeah.
And for those reasons, I have ignored it loads of times, and it's proved. So I don't ignore it anymore.
Okay.
It doesn't have to prove itself. It doesn't have to explain why it doesn't want this person that appears to be great coming into the business. If I get the ick.
Yeah, it's
then,
a sixth sense, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's very much a gut thing, and it's how they are, because we can give them the skills, we can train them for the skills, but you can't train somebody to be that person.
Yeah.
They either are or they aren't.
I agree. I think when it comes to it, like you say, they've got to be qualified, a bit of experience. But if it's the right person, you can train more experience.
Yeah.
But you could get the most experienced, and I'm sure you've had this before, the most experienced person in the world, but they're not the right vibe, and they don't last, and they cause more harm than good.
Yeah, definitely.
You said that you use Indeed for advertising for jobs. One of the things that I notice in the industry is a lot of people find it difficult for hiring staff and finding the right people to join their team.
Yeah.
Do you put budget into your Indeed ads? Do you use social media as well? Or do you just put the job out there and see what comes in from it?
Social media as well. Okay. So we'll advertise. It is hard because you get a lot of applicants, and it can be time consuming going through those applicants. And a lot of the applicants have no experience, and that's why we've changed the processes and recognised. So we get less applicants now because we've put these things in place. I'd love some more ways of finding the right people. I don't really know where else to look.
I know. It's a difficult one, isn't it? And it takes time. I think some people think, I'm going to hire someone, I'll put the job out there, or I'll put the advert on Instagram, and people are going to come flying at me. Have you noticed that it typically takes like a certain amount of time before you find the right person? Is it a quick process? Can it be a couple of months?
It sometimes can be really quick. Example, Danielle, that's been with us for, I think, 6 or 7 years. She moved over from Australia, and I think like she came for an interview a few days after she'd got off the plane, and in she came, and it was like sent from heaven,
right?
Perfection.
Easy.
Whereas
other
times it's taken like 3 months, 4 months, and you've interviewed loads of people, you've trade tested loads of people, and finally after 4 months that right person. So it's different every time.
Yeah, I think it's important people know that. Definitely. One of the things I noticed about you on social media, and I like your openness about this and your directness as well, is you talk about not entering for beauty awards so that you can focus more on your clients. Can you tell me more about why you don't enter for beauty awards? What's the reason behind that?
Firstly, I would love an award. If there was an award that we could have, then yeah, I'd love it. But the reason that I did that post, somebody had said, such a salon in such a place has got an award. Have you never got an award? And I was like, no, because we don't enter them. And it just gave me an idea for a post. Yeah. So why don't we enter them? I just feel like it's a palaver. And it's enough just running day to day and keeping things steady. I think that there are some really good awards with a lot of kudos, and how great does it look to say, the Waxologist award-winning salon? It'd be brilliant. And I can totally see the benefits business-wise and why people do it. And I'd love me and all the girls to have a lovely night out and get dolled up. But I just suppose I can't be bothered. Ooh, it's horrible to say that, isn't it? We're too busy with everything else to go for that. I have noticed, though, we've had some emails from a couple of companies that they seem to be making awards for people. So they will sort of make you a category and you would get an award in that category and you'd get a lovely glass trophy. But it's not even real. And I feel like that takes away the meaning of the other awards. So I think there's great awards and there's just a facade, a bit of nonsense. But
you mentioned about you don't feel aligned paying to enter to win an award. What do you mean by that?
It has to be done, doesn't it? You know, these people that run those awards, like English Hair and Beauty, I get that you have to pay for that process somehow, but I don't know. It just feels a bit, you know, the paying to enter and then the mithering of the clients are the two main things
that you don't want to do.
That I don't want to do.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to be on clients' cases to say, can you vote for us? Can you vote for us? It's really important. Can you vote for us? In the appointment, after the appointment, sending emails, sending texts. I just don't want to go there.
Yeah, I get that. And I see the pros and cons to awards as well. And my salon won awards in the early days. It was local awards that we was nominated for by our clients. It wasn't something that we actively entered. But we did work on asking clients to vote for us once we was in the category, and we did.
Was it a palaver?
We won them both. Yeah, it was a fuck about, but but to be honest, at that time I had 18 staff, so we all just mentioned it to our clients and we fucking won because it was power by numbers at that point.
Great.
And now I see the pros and I see the cons. I think it's lovely to be recognised for work, but I also see people who don't win who then take that as a direct kind of feedback on their work and what they do, and they can be disheartened by it. I equally know very successful salon owners like yourself who are booked out, 7 or 8 staff members, making money, never entered an award, don't need an award. And then I've also seen people who have lots of space in their diary and have entered it and got the friends and the families and the dog and everybody else to vote for them and have won it. And I suppose what it is I don't like about it is the impact that it has on the people who take it personal.
Right. See, obviously, as a coach and somebody that's involved in lots of people, you see that.
I see that side
I've
of it, and
never
I don't think
seen
it
that.
matters.
I've never thought of it.
Yeah, I don't think it matters.
Yeah.
I think it matters to those it matters to.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's the be all and end all of having a business. You know, like I don't know. I suppose being an award-winning salon does have its benefits, and people locally are like, oh yeah, it's an award-winning salon. But you don't have to be an award-winning salon to be successful. No. So for me, it's like I see pros, I see cons. I'm not anti. I'm not pro. I've been asked to judge so many awards, and I don't.
Do you not?
I'm not doing it. No. And the reason why is because I work with 3,500 beauty business owners in the UK. I'm going to be telling my members who I think is best out of them, and I'm not there for that. Also, who the fuck am I to judge?
It's as well.
It's that like
is what's best. You know, what's best for you isn't best for me.
Yeah.
And every business attracts a different clientele, and that clientele, it'll be best for them. But
exactly, everyone's different, and the few people that I have spoken to who have been judges for awards have said to me they didn't enjoy it.
Right.
As in they felt like it was, and they felt like it was competitive. She said, I wouldn't do it again. It feels like a very competitive evening. It's not a nice energy. It's not the energy that I'm so for. And I thought, yeah, I can understand that. But then some people go and have a fucking great night and win. And you know, so I do see, I'm not, like I say, I'm not against it, I'm not for it. I don't want to be involved in it because I don't want to, when you choose a first place, you also choose in a last place.
Yeah, I never thought of that.
And I don't like that.
Yeah.
So, you know, I enter competitions on my horse because I choose to be placed and I choose to be judged. I'm not going to be put and judge people. Not for me. It's not for me. Anyway, so let's go to building a client base. So you've got yourself, are you actively working in the salon still? Are you still doing treatments on your clients? Okay, cool. Yeah. And then you've got about 7 people who do that as well. What would your top 3 tips be for attracting clients to a salon? What do you think matters?
The client experience
Yeah.
is absolute top.
Tell me about your
priority.
client experience then. So a client comes into the salon, let's say it's a first-time client. What are they experiencing?
Yeah, it's a little bit different because we don't have a receptionist and we don't have, you can't just walk in off the street. It's
Okay.
appointment only.
Appointment only, got it.
We have a door buzzer entry system.
I love that.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Your therapist will answer the buzzer, welcome you in, tell you where to sit. I need to be told what to do. I'm quite a nervous ninny. So if I go to a place and I'm like, what do I do? Where do I sit? You know, I always say to the girls when they start, say, come in, take a seat to your left, because they've never been in this building.
Yeah.
You know, spoon feed them.
Yeah.
I need to be spoon fed so that I feel relaxed. I need to be told what to do. Then your therapist comes and gets you. We've got lovely, big, spacious treatment rooms. And I feel like that's one of the things that really matters with waxing. It's often an overlooked treatment in salons. It's not exciting. It's hard to put out social media for because, well, some people are filming the whole waxes and they're blurring little bits out. We've not gone there. You often get a really squished room with a bed against the wall. We don't have any of that. Everything is comfortable and clean and giving step-by-step instructions to the client and making them really welcome and doing a really good job.
Yeah, and you think that when your clients leave your salon, they leave feeling like they've been cared for?
Yeah, and I think they get something out of it, which is, you know, when you're stripping off waist down, you're putting yourself in a really vulnerable position and clients feel elated after it. They feel like they've achieved something and they have. You know, how big a deal is that to get your full kit off within 5 minutes of meeting somebody?
Yeah, it's wild, isn't it, when you think about it? But I think you've got to have a certain personality to be able to do that job.
Yeah.
You can't be a super introverted, nervous person when you're asking someone to get the fanny out.
No.
Do you know, you've got to be like, just like it's nothing.
Yeah,
Are you
yeah,
making
yeah.
a cup of tea?
And it is nothing now.
And it is, yeah, it is, definitely. But as a client, the person who's doing the waxing has to understand that the client might not feel comfortable. So you've got to really match energy, haven't you? So you think all your girls have got that nailed.
Oh, they're
is it just girls
amazing.
that you've got working with you?
Yeah.
Just girls. So client experience is one of the things that you think keeps clients coming to you or gets clients to you. What else do you think matters?
Still on that note, making sure that client experience is brilliant because it's word of mouth. If somebody hears about a salon, you know, in a conversation about, I need a wax, where am I going to go? Oh, God, don't go there. It was awful. I went there and blah, blah, blah. It's mentioned again. Somebody said they went there and it was awful. But you can have the same impact by giving that client an amazing experience every time so that when waxing comes up online, they'll put, I went there and it was amazing. It was brilliant. I was really happy. So that's why that client experience is really, really important to me.
Yeah. It's like
in
the
a
compound
business
effect,
sense.
isn't it? And word of mouth, I think, is still up there in the top 3 marketing strategies that you can apply to your business because although it is a slow burner.
Yeah.
Because especially if you're starting out in the industry and you've got 2 clients you see a week or 1 client, it's a fucking slow burner.
Yeah.
But as soon as you get to them 10, 15 clients a week, it compounds and then it becomes a quicker burner.
Yes.
And it's just sticking with it. But I do, hands down, think word of mouth is up there in probably my top 3, which is experience, isn't it?
Yeah.
Client experience in my top 3 strategies. And what's the second thing you think helps get clients?
Oh, reviews. Reviews. If you've not got that person to tell you where to go, for me, I Google.
Yeah,
I Google a service and the reviews that we've got, absolutely gorgeous. And they've brought us so many clients. So many clients come in, new client, and we'll start chatting and I'll say, what made you come? Where did you hear about us? Reviews. You've got amazing reviews. And I just felt like this was the best place to come. So getting those reviews is really important. You get asked for reviews now at Tesco, don't you?
Yeah.
And it's hard to get reviews. But one thing that I have learned is that people, if you've done them a great service and treatment, they want to do you a favour. And if you tell them that it will really help you and your business, if they leave you a review, they're far more likely to do it than being put in a prize draw for £1,000.
Could not agree more.
They want to help you.
Yeah, they do. And I think people are scared to ask for reviews because they're like, oh, it's a bit beggy, it's a bit salesy. Tell them that you're growing your client base. Tell them that you've got loads of space. Tell them that you need some new clients.
Yeah.
People like to help people.
Absolutely.
So when you say to them, look, I'm growing my client base at the minute and I'd really appreciate it. It would really help me if you left me a review because it might help me get some more clients. They will jump on that review.
Definitely.
So quickly. Whereas if you go, like you say, oh, if you leave me a review, I'll enter you into a prize. I don't like that shit. I'm like, I can live without that. But I want to help people. So, yeah, no, I love that. I love reviews. And what would you say is the third tip that you've got for growing a client base?
Consistency.
Yeah.
Consistency. And I think consistency is one of those things that's a little bit boring. And I see lots of salons offering discounts for new clients. I just think, oh, what about your old clients?
Yeah.
You know, what about the people that have been coming to you for 10 years and every month have found the money in their budget to visit you? You know, I do believe that constantly giving a great service will build your client base better almost than chasing new clients. Getting new clients is hard. You want to look after your core clients and the people that choose to return to you. So not being complacent and not sort of taking a client for granted because they've been coming for so long. They deserve 5-star treatment after 10 years because that's what the other client that you're trying to wow for the first time is getting.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think that it really depends on where the person is at in the journey, in their business journey, as to with the new client discount thing. I think there's definitely a space for new client discount. But I think, like you say, if you are going to run your new client discounts, please make sure you're running your loyalty ones as well.
Do something for those
your loyal
clients.
ones. Yeah, because otherwise it can piss them off, can't it? No, I agree. Thank you. That was really valuable. Really valuable. One of your mantras is friendly, convenient and comfortable. How important do you think it is to create the right environment for your clients that aligns with your mantra?
Oh, really important. You know, part of finding our forever home was very much based in those things. So it took me 3 years to find this salon, even though I'd been in it in 2013 and immediately had a connection to the building.
You just knew.
I mean, it was going to happen, wasn't it? Yeah, and I hankered after it for years, and I'd go and see other places and I'd just keep thinking, I want number 5, I want that one, I want that one. I got it in the end. Took a while.
Yeah, but everything in the right time. Did you feel like it was the right time when you got it? Or did you feel like,
it was. It was perfect. No, it was
perfect time.
I didn't have the money to do it up before. It fell in as it always does.
Time.
But when I went and looked at the other places, I know that number 5 was still in the back of my head and that probably stopped me. But, you know, there wasn't a car park. It wasn't easy to find. It wasn't easy to get to. It was upstairs. It wasn't manageable for all clients. It wasn't close enough to where we'd began originally. So the convenience thing, you know, I know that our salon is convenient, friendly. Well, you've got to be friendly, haven't you?
Especially if you're waxing fannies.
And you've got to make it comfortable. And I don't just mean the wax comfortable, I mean the whole salon comfortable, including for the team. So the girl that came last week for an interview, she was like, my God, an electric bed. Absolutely an electric bed, because this is hard graft.
Yes.
And we've got to protect the team and look after their health. And, you know, in turn, it's the clients that are coming in that are pregnant with mobility issues. So I'm looking for comfort on every single level.
Yeah, I think that makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
In 3 words, how do you think your clients would describe your salon?
Well, I guess I know this from the reviews. So, yeah, from our reviews, everybody says that it's the most comfortable wax that they've ever had, that it's very clean, and that we've put them at ease.
Yeah. That's nice. That's nice. They're good. They're good, like, ways to describe you. What if a brand new beauty business owner was listening to this episode now, maybe they want to go into waxing or they just want to join the industry. What key pieces of advice would you give to someone that's aspiring to establish and grow their own salon?
Get help.
Get help.
Oh my God, get help. So as if you're on your own if you're starting as I did, I think having a coach or being part of a group would have been such a help to me back then. It was so lonely. It was soul destroying. I was full of anxiety. I had nobody to give it to. I had nobody to get advice to apart from my boyfriend.
And they don't get it, do they?
No.
They don't get it.
So on a business level, I was very lucky. I met him 6 months after I started the business, and he was in the middle of an MBA.
Oh, fab.
Very handy. So he's helped me in a lot of ways, but still it was me carrying the burden and the angst, and to have had somebody in the industry to sort of lean on and help me would have been massive. So I would say do that, become involved and get some help.
Yeah.
If you have the budget for it, and as soon as you can, palm off anything that you don't enjoy doing and get yourself onto the things that you do enjoy doing. You know, if that's where you shine, doing the treatments, get somebody else doing the social media, get somebody else doing the admin, because the more time you spend doing what you love, it's going to create that happiness in the business and push you forward more, rather than being bogged down by receipts and admin and can't stand that stuff.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's so important. Like you say, in the early days, I think it's important to everyone experience the things.
Yeah.
You've got to experience social media, you've got to experience your receipts and all that, because, you know, in the future, if someone decides to up and fuck off, you've got to deal with those things. So you've got to know how. But I remember sitting with my business coach, and I was doing a million things, and he said to me, I want you to do what only you can do in your business. So only I can sit here and do these podcasts. Only I can jump on in a group on a Monday and answer the questions. But there are things that I can give to other people, like the bookkeeping now, like the scheduling of the social media posts. I still have influence over them, but I think having that only do what you can do and what your talent is.
Yeah.
So like for you, you're really good at what you're really good at.
Yeah.
But when you're spending time doing things that you're not really enjoying and you're not really good at, and you don't need to do that anymore, I think that's great advice. So surround yourself with a community, get a coach if you can. And by the way, Lauren's not in the BGA either.
No, but I might become, because we do need,
we need a community. My group the community is such a big part of it. And it's being able to say, had this client in today, this is what she said to complain, how would you deal with it? And the girls are straight on it. Or girls, I've had a cancellation, this is the third time that they've done it now, I've got the card details on file, do I charge them? Or girls, I'm feeling overwhelmed, I've got so many jobs to do, where do I start?
How amazing to get that.
And to just have so many girls just jumping on and help, and lads as well. Like, I've actually got one out of 3,500, so I say women predominantly. But I agree, in any business, in any trade, I think community is important. Whether you're baking cakes, get into a baking community. If you do art, get into an art community, because it's surround yourself with like-minded people, and I think it's important. So that's great advice. So what are your plans for the future with Waxologist? Do you have any plans for training or anything like that?
God, me and Lorna, who is the training manager, we did our, used to call it petals, maybe 5 years ago. We've still not run a training course.
You're having fun though, aren't you?
Yeah, it's always something that we're sort of looking at. For me right now, my priority is sailing a steady ship.
Yeah.
We're still coming back from COVID. We still have our bounce back loan to pay off, and we are still paying off our laser machine.
Yeah.
I think we're on course to finish those payments in about 2.5 years. And that will be lovely for me, not to have those financial commitments. It'll be quite freeing. For now, I'm coming back from like burnout, and I've had a lot of time off this last 2 years, and I'm still not, I wouldn't buy anything off now that I knew I couldn't thoroughly chew. You know what I mean? I wouldn't do what I've done again because I'm not mentally in the position that I was. You know, it's been a hard 12 years in the industry. It's not been the easiest, and there's been lots of things that I look back on and think, yeah, I'd do that differently. I wish I hadn't have done that, but I wouldn't have learnt the lesson. So yeah, we started selling our own wax last year, and that's something that I want to push a little bit more, but I'm not as hungry as I was. I'm not as desperate as I was. I'm sort of in a phase where I love what we've got and I just want to continue.
Yeah, I love that. I say it in a way like this. You spend so many years planting the seeds and harvesting the garden, and eventually the fruit grows, and sometimes you just want to sit and eat the fucking fruit.
Yeah, I
and
just want to
that's
enjoy.
Fine.
Yeah.
Just want to enjoy the fruit. I don't want to keep planting it. I don't want to keep growing it. I don't want to keep nurturing it. I just want to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a beautiful place to be. And I am definitely... I like to hustle, don't get me wrong, but I'm in my hustle phase still. But I go in and out of different phases. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with being in a longer phase of enjoying the fruit.
Yeah.
And you've worked so hard to get there. And you've got a nice, great team. And you've got a brilliant business. And yeah, I think it's inspiring. So where can people find you online?
I'd say at the moment, Instagram and our website. Got to do some work on that website. I want to kind of bring it up to date, and I've got lots more information to add. But I think where we're most active is Instagram, or they can book a wax.
Yeah.
And say hello.
So tell us where you are again.
We're in Cheadle, South Manchester, in Cheadle Village.
Okay, perfect. So we will tag your account below. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. You've been an amazing guest.